Okay, I think we are ready. Good, good morning, good evening, greetings, everybody
Good
from
night.
the TOA University and Tauta land. Hello.
Well, it's afternoon here in San Andres, in Colombia.
Yeah.
Nighttime in my aquarium.
Yeah,
Yes, midday over here in El Peñol.
I'm 3 hours behind you guys here in Maui. On the
Hey, Todd, you must have woke up really early, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, how's everybody doing?
Good
How's
for
everybody
you.
feeling?
Good.
Really good.
Okay.
We got our I got my shorts on. We're getting
Wow.
our COVID tan lines.
Down by the
I
pool.
started coughing right before this, so my kids and my wife locked themselves in the room, so I'm alone.
Alone. You have a great view from that hotel room there.
It's one of a kind.
Skyrise.
Well, I'm excited for what we're gonna talk about today. You know,
So am I.
we got some really cool thing to talk about. So as everybody may or may not know, we did probably the last large workers' comp event in California before the state, rightly so, shut down. Our event was TOA University 4, and it was March
6th.
right?
Yeah.
And the week following, everything just went to haywire, right? So we were lucky.
Yeah,
we
literally,
got in just under the wire.
almost a week to the day. Governor Newsom I put the cap on gatherings of over 250 people,
Yep.
and
So
then
we would have been shut down.
Yeah.
increased on and on and on.
It was like that
I had to
Tuesday or
make a
Wednesday
special
the
call.
following week.
But because of that, I realized, a lot of people, even though our event was very well attended, and we have an amazing recap video to show everybody in the next couple of days. I'm excited about that actually too. What do you guys think of that recap video? It's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
Oh,
It
it's
is.
gonna be great. Love it.
Yeah,
I
it
love
is. It's
that.
great. I've already seen a little copy of it, but
yeah, exactly.
it's great.
But I realized too that, even though it was a week before we got shut down in the state, there were probably some people who didn't come to our event that day, that were signed up to go or wanted to go. And, oftentimes we get a lot of day of walk-ins, and there were fewer than I think people were already kind of like feeling it, that they didn't want to join large crowds and public
Yeah,
groups.
I mean, definitely. I do recall, the night before having a handful of emails where the company, the employer had limited the people's travel, non-essential travel. And so they had to kind of cancel last minute because they weren't able to attend anymore since it was non-essential travel.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I've been thinking about that. So let's do something to get the information that those people missed into their hands, and anybody else listening to our podcast too, right? So this has turned into what we're going to talk about today. I'm really excited to announce that we've compiled the sort of the cheat codes to all of the presentations that we presented that day from all the amazing speakers. We offered 6 CEUs, and we had 5 presenters up on stage, 5 different segments. Oh no, JD.
So it was 6, but the sixth one was it was more of a Q&A session. So it was not necessarily
True.
like a slideshow ready, or it was more like, because it was a panel with the judges. So people from the audience were able to just ask questions directly to the judges that were present.
So we decided to compile all that information from the whole day into a summary. And in this summary, we've presented now as our first ever free ebook. Little PDF document.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
I'm excited
great.
for people to see this.
I'm excited too, because this is a chance. We're all stuck at home, quarantined. I'm not really at the beach, in case you didn't know.
And I'm not in Colombia.
I am at El Peñol. I am here.
But we can still give value and give something back to our community and our industry. And I thought that this would be a cool way to put something in people's hands that was, not coronavirus related, but still useful for when things
educate
return to
yourself.
normal. Educate our industry, help our industry, and really.
And this is our way to give back. I mean, just like the TOA University is, we always try to figure out a way to get back to our clients as a thank you. And I think this is another way for us to give value to what we did on March 6th, but also a way to show you guys that we are grateful for the work we're grateful for the emails that you guys have sent to your attorneys to use us for court reporting. Now that we're doing it even Zoom wise. But yeah, this is just a great way to show value to what we did.
Yeah, exactly right. So let's get right into it. So the title of the ebook is, drum roll, 6 Things You Must Know in Comp for 2020. So, 2020 is, we're already almost April, but it's still many months to go left. And there's some things that, maybe if you weren't at our event that you should know about. And so 6 things you must know are these. So I'm going to take, I'll just jump in. I'll take the first one, emerging trends at the WCAB. So this was presented by Kayla Schmidt from the Oaks Law Group, and she did an amazing job. Well done, Kayla.
Woo!
Woo! So there were 6 emerging trends that she brought up. And one, I'm not gonna give them all because we don't have time, but this is an amazing resource that you need to download. And so the first one, emerging trend number 1 was, she says, the applicant attorneys are choosing inappropriate panel specialties to inflate the value of claims, which maybe, not everyone knows about that, but that's one emerging trend. Another one is, for example, emerging trend number 3, using an untimely QME deposition setting to obtain a new panel. So I don't know if everyone out there is aware of what's going on, these emerging trends. You definitely want this in your hands. So you need to get our free ebook, and the free ebook is 6 Things You Must Know in Comp for 2020.
Well, it's also awesome because, like, especially with this topic, the emerging trends, it's things that maybe, you read these bullet points and maybe you're not going to memorize them, but all of a sudden, as you deal for an adjuster, they're dealing with a case, a difficult, claim, and it's something that the applicant attorney might do. It might trigger that memory, like, wait a minute, I do remember reading this somewhere.
Exactly
let me go back to the book, and see what more information there is about it.
Yeah, exactly right.
This whole emerging trend that Kayla did was actually very interesting, and I got really good feedback about it. And it's true. There's a lot of stuff going on that that the applicants are doing. That there's a lot of different things going on, and it's a very interesting presentation that she did. That we have as well. We have it on our website that you can download.
Yeah, exactly right. Jonathan, will you take the next one?
Yes. So the next topic that we were able to, that we got, information about in our booklet was presented by Keith Vigans and Judith Hoover from Michael Solomon and Associates. And it was on the hijacking of 132A. 132A, Labor Code 132A, talks about the prohibition of discriminating in any manner against employees.
Somebody's getting hijacked over there.
Yeah, my kids are getting hyped up.
Someone's getting hijacked.
Yeah, take them out of the fish tank, man.
Jonathan, is that
Take him out of the fish tank.
I wasn't sure if you guys could hear him, but it's my sharks. They're arguing behind me.
Yeah.
Sounds like
someone's getting chewed up.
Yeah.
All right, watching
a Tiger King might have jumped in there.
Yeah, Tiger King Joe.
Yeah.
Someone came looking for sardine oil.
Have you seen that movie or that show?
Oh, it's a great show.
But sorry. So going back. So yeah, the Labor Code 132A talks about not discriminating against an employee based on workers' complaint that they have filed, which is a great law. It's there for the protection of the employee. Right. But the truth is, the applicant attorneys have been hijacking it to take advantage of it, to leverage, to try to get settlements that they don't deserve, or try to up the cost, or bring in bad litigation to more litigation to the employer. So some of the things that he talks about is the discrimination, what is considered discrimination under the Labor Code 132A. Also talks about the burden of proof. The burden of proof is not always on the employer. Sometimes it's on the employee. Not necessarily just because the employer asked the employee, the injured worker, to share some of the burden, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is discrimination. And so there's really, really valuable information, I think, for the employer to be able to have a good case, or to prepare themselves in case that the applicant or the injured worker is coming and saying, hey, we're being discriminated under 132A. There's really good tools and resources here for them to be able to equip themselves and say, no, wait a minute, this is actually allowed under that. This is actually what's happening. It's not discrimination. I cannot ignore the cost of business per se. So it's a great resource that they can access here in our booklet.
Yeah, I heard a lot of great feedback from, and so hats off to and kudos to Keith Figgins and Judith Hoover from Michael Sullivan Associates
Yes.
for putting on the hijacking of 132A.
Very interesting stuff.
What's another one in there? Ricky, take one of these. Let's see.
Yeah, so we have Guide to a Successful Fraud Prosecutions.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of great things that Stacy Gunn and Laura from Michael Sullivan's office
right.
Were able to, bankers. Great speakers. We had some great feedback from them. Mm-hmm. We have some key points like fraud, red flags. Find what the facts are. Yeah. So, obviously dealing with fraud, you want to know what the facts are before you try to prosecute. Mm-hmm. You have other ones are when to take the deposition or where to look for the evidence.
On that one, on the window to take a deposition, obviously that's our wheelhouse, you know what I mean? So Stacy's advice and Laura Banker's advice was to delay the deposition actually until you have all the background info. Unless certain conditions apply, of course, but they talk all about that. So it was pretty good information.
Yeah, and even when they talked about working with the doctor, or when to disclose the video and things like that, those topics were awesome. And that
they had a lot of great bullet points on the subject. And obviously, Stacy being so into the fraud and fighting in California, she just obviously is able to.
She killed it.
Exactly.
I think one of the things that I found really interesting is that just because there might be fraud happening, it doesn't necessarily mean that their worker is not entitled to some benefits. Because I think that might be a misconception for some employers or even the adjusters or the attorney is that if they're able to prove fraud, that's it. They can get away with basically a take nothing. And
there's a lot of fraud going out there, and they really want us to. They want everybody in the workers' comp.
And now, and going on with this coronavirus, people are getting laid off or whatever, and there's gonna be a lot of fraud. There's gonna be a lot of cases going on. We presume, so this will be valuable information to go on with your prosecutions.
Yeah, I remember her, Stacy, saying that when you actually do feel like you have fraud and you got to take that all the way to the district attorney. Best practices are to really connect all the dots for that district attorney. So basically prepare a brief and a concise referral to the district attorney and articulate that each of the material misrepresentations and identify the evidence, the documents, and support each one. So really lay it out with a nice tidy bow on it and present it in order for them to pick it up. So great advice on there.
Yeah.
But John, what's the next thing?
Well, I mean, another presenter that we had was Yvonne Lane from Proman. Huh?
Yes, right, exactly.
Proman, Brown and Wax. It was called Case Law Update. And what I liked about her was that she just gave a lot of facts and gave a lot of examples.
Yeah,
valuable information.
I mean, I think for starters, she's just a great speaker, super entertaining.
Oh my God, amazing, right? She made people laugh.
The energy was amazing.
And she had a tough job too, because she went last. So that's after a full day of people being
ready to go home,
eating mimosas and stuff. But she was able to enliven the crowd and keep them engaged for that last
Keep them entertained,
And really good raffle gifts too.
That's true. We gave out so many.
She had the settlement. She just presented a lot of examples that I think that everybody, if they have a chance, can even if you went to our event, just go back onto our website.
Yeah, I mean, and get the booklet. And it was cool because she didn't just concentrate on one aspect of the update of the case law update, but she touched on jurisdiction. the strength of the judicial authority too. She differentiates between the Supreme Court decisions, District Court of Appeals decisions, or even just a published opinion, which sometimes attorneys will try to use. She talked about the medical treatment, the difference between temporary and permanent disability, and how the courts see that. So she touched on a lot of different aspects of workers' comp law, which it's super useful.
Yeah.
And one thing before we finish, you guys, if anybody listening, if you want the information of any of these attorneys, for example, or any of the other presenters that we had, we have that information, and you just reach out to us. We would love to share that information with you guys so that you can, if you had any questions, or if you want to even work with those attorneys, for example.
Absolutely. And this ebook which is called 6 Things You Must Know in Comp for 2020. Got to get that name in there. Has all of the presenters' info and links to their websites. So you'll be able to go directly there, as you rightly said, Johnny. Okay, and then there was another section of, from a actually hilarious and brilliant,
a really good one.
Dr. Paul Kim from Keystone Industrial Medicine, and also Scott Ferris from Laughlin Falbo. They talked about obesity in workers' compensation. And actually, before they talked about obesity in workers' compensation, it was, they did a 5 or 10 minutes about the coronavirus, which I thought was very timely, and people appreciated that.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Too. And it was off the cuff, but it was, such an important topic to everybody in the room.
I learned a lot just from that. Just those 10 minutes, I learned so much.
Yeah. So the following.
Start giving high fives.
No more high fives for now. But we did a podcast with him too, subsequently, and because of that section, we did our own podcast with Dr. Kim.
Yeah, the TOA Storytellers.
Yeah, and so we got even more in depth with him on what he could see from the data, and some encouraging things, and also some best practices from him on that. So, he's been a great resource. But for this ebook and for the day of this event, the obesity in workers' comp, he talks about, is it an epidemic? There's lots of stats that cite and look like basically it is a epidemic of obesity, not just in workers' comp, obviously, but in the United States. Obesity and back injuries, there's a linkage there. Obesity and knee injuries, of course. Obesity and shoulder injuries, it talks about that. Let's see, what else? Obesity, is it the root of all evil? He says obesity itself causes injury and leads to other injuries such as hypertension, diabetes, mellitus, cardiovascular disease, stroke, sleep apnea, among others, and on and on. So it's a really useful section, actually, as it relates to workers' comp, too. It gets into that specifics.
Well, I love how he calculates, too, actually the annual cost, nationwide of people being absent because of issues related to obesity. And, it's calculated to be over $3.3 billion. And I think it's something that people often don't think about. It's like, when you tweak your back, maybe is it because you really have a bad back, or maybe, it's the obesity, the overweight that's causing those underlying issues.
Right.
Yeah. Complications also from recovering from a workers' comp injury too.
It's very true. Great point. So that's 5 things so far, but there is a 6th thing. 6 Things You Must Know in Comp for 2020 is the title of this free ebook, which, by the way, is available on our website. It's available at toddolivis.com/free. Just go there and you pop in your email and you'll get this thing as a PDF, like lickety split. But the 6th thing is in our kind of neck of the woods here. We are a court reporting agency, and normally we host these depositions live and in person, like old school. But these days, what you need to know in comp is that people are switching to remote depositions, even as we speak. We have remote depositions going on today, whereas 2 weeks ago, these all would have happened in person. Face to face, like normal. But quickly, because of the shutdown, people realized that these depositions still need to go forward, and they can. And they can via the Zoom app. We use a free Zoom app, and we've been becoming Zoom ninjas.
Yeah, well, and I think that the biggest thing is that, this pandemic, the coronavirus, I think at first we all figure it's a small disruption of business, then it got a little bigger. Then we got the stay-at-home order, but I think everybody thought, you know what, it's just gonna be a week, and then you'll go back to normal. But just on Sunday, the president announced an extension of the emergency and the guidelines, and so now it's extended all the way to the end of April.
Yeah,
And
April 30th.
business, the truth of the matter is, business has to carry on for some people, even for the injured worker. These people need to get back to work. Adjusters want to get the proper medical treatment for these injured workers. And so one of the ways that, like you said, we pivoted and that we found to safely and effectively still service people is this Zoom depositions.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had to adapt, just like, every industry has to adapt. So we had to adapt and go on with these depositions. So yeah, like these workers can go back to work or get their settlement. Adjusters, attorneys, everybody has to eat. So
no, that's a great point. And we followed up yesterday with all the reporters, but and the clients too, and they all basically gave it a huge thumbs up. One of the reporters wrote in. She says, "Hi, it went great. Our deponent was actually, get this, the deponent was actually in India.
Yeah,
we had 3 attorneys, me, and then the deponent, and it's truly amazing that we can do depots like this. He was in India, and he was easy to hear. Maybe because of the accent, it was a little bit difficult, but that's normal. That's the way it always goes. And then she says this: I only had one time where one of the attorneys got a little glitchy, but it was just for a second. Our depot was about 2.5 hours long, and it was one of my longer workers' comps I've done. So the taking attorney at the end said it worked out great, and it was awesome. She ends it with this: it was also funny because one attorney was using his phone and he would walk around his house while doing the depot. So I got a nice tour of his place. And at one point he was sitting in his backyard. So this is the new reality. And so this is definitely something that needs to be on this 6 things you got to know for comp in 2020.
Right.
Yeah. That attorney needs to
one of the cool things is
virtual reality.
Yeah.
So he doesn't see
the background.
And the thing is, depositions are an integral part of the case, of being able to move this files forward. And
you're right.
With the stay-at-home order,
attorneys have always told us, even in the depots, how depositions have always been, if this case is actually worth it or not. And but another thing is cool is that we have actually worked. We're making sure that every court reporter is trained before every Zoom. We train whoever needs to, even the adjuster, for example. If you don't know how to use a Zoom, or you don't know how to, you figure maybe this is just too new technology for you, we make sure we walk through every step with you to make you feel comfortable. And the cool part is everybody, even the older you are, you can figure this out. We make it easy.
Oh yeah, exactly right. Well, the cool thing about Zoom too is it works on anything. It works on a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a desktop, anything. And so who doesn't have a phone these days, at least? And so it's working. And so I'm actually pretty proud of our team to be able to pivot so quickly into this model, and it's working. And so anyway, that's our 6 things you guys must know in comp for 2020. And if you go to toddolivas.com/free, just go there and pop in your email, and that's how we can see who's getting it. And then it'll be a quick download right after that. So I hope everybody takes advantage of it. I just was grateful to be able to throw out some good value, hopefully to the world, and hopefully it can help people with their cases in 2020.
Absolutely.
Get it, study it.
Click
Go
it.
to
It's
our
free,
website, guys.
Awesome. All right, guys. From us here in from Todd Olivas in Hawaii.
My private
Colombia.
reserve. It's in my sanctuary of fishes.
He stayed home. Stay home, stay safe.
Island of San Andres.
That's right.
That's Colombia, where the 7 colors of the ocean. You can see one spot.
Excellent. Thanks for
We miss you guys.
We miss you guys.
I miss
We're
you
staying in
guys.
contact and best we can. And everybody be safe, be healthy, and thank you so much for listening to the TOA Storytellers podcast. Bye-bye.
And thank you again for letting your attorneys know to use us.
Bye-bye, guys.